Ms. Secretary, you don't have a lot of experience working with this committee, so I'd like to start with some basics. What does Article 1, Section 8, Clause 13 of the Constitution say?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me, Senator?
It grants the Congress the power to, quote, provide and maintain a navy. And Clause 12 grants Congress the power to raise an army. Do you know why the Founding Fathers had a difference between our constitutional responsibilities? It's a big difference. Raise an army, provide and maintain a navy. Do you know why?
I think I do, Senator, but why don't you give me the history lesson
Well,
you
go
seem
ahead.
to want to do today?
Why don't you answer my question, Mr. Secretary? Do you want to answer the question?
I don't.
Wow, okay. It gives the Congress a longer-term view of building ships, developing infrastructure, supporting a much more permanent naval force than with the Army. Do you know which section of the Constitution mentions the Secretary of the Navy?
I do not, Senator. Why don't you go ahead and
Not
educate
mentioned
me
in this.
again?
It's not
Thank you.
mentioned in the Constitution. Let me provide a hypothetical. Congress passes a law. I've had many hearings on it. President signs it. Your experts come to you, say it's not one of your top priorities. What is your obligation to the law, Constitution, this body with regard to the law?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Senator?
Congress passes a law. President signs it. Your experts come to you and say, what that law mandates is not one of our top priorities. What is your obligation to the law, Constitution, in this body with regard to that hypothetical?
I'm not sure what this is accomplishing, Senator, but at the end of the day, I follow the laws as
Good.
they're given to
Let
me.
me provide
How
a
about that?
real-world example
Please
in
do.
that regard.
How
We
about,
had
how about we
hearings-
talk
we had-
about
we
our
had-
call yesterday?
We
You
had
wanna talk about that?
hearings. We had hearings to get to 31 amphibs in the law. Navy didn't like it. SecNav didn't like it. The Marines did like it. We passed that, requiring 31 amphibs. The law actually says the naval combat forces of the Navy shall include not less than 11 operational aircraft carriers, not less than 31 operational amphibious warships, of which not less than 10 shall be amphibious assault ships. Secretary of the Navy came here 2 years ago, and his shipbuilding plan, he didn't hit 31 amphibs at all. How do you think this committee responded to that?
Sure, they didn't like it.
We didn't like it. Senator Kane and I put forward legislation that actually said the next year in the NDAA, very bipartisan, if the Navy doesn't hit its 30-year shipbuilding plan that maintains 31 amphibs, that we would sequester half of the Navy's budget. So do you think, and this is for all the gentlemen at the table, are we hitting 31 amphibs right now? Admiral, under the law?
I believe we are.
So my understanding is 3 of the 32 are not mission capable, 14 are out of reporting and in shipyards. So are we hitting 31 amphibs with those amphibs out of commission, essentially?
By the letter of the law, we are. In intent, we're not.
Are those operational amphibious warships? That's the letter of the law.
When they come out of maintenance, they will be.
But 14 are in maintenance. So you think we're hitting that law right now?
Yes, sir.
General, do you think we're hitting that law? Let me give you one. One of the ships on that list is the USS Tortuga. It hasn't deployed since 2013. The Navy's counting that as meeting the law. Do you think that meets you were very involved in that 31 amphib law. Do you think that meets the letter of the law?
Senator, I can't speak to what meets the letter and intent of the law. I only can speak to the requirement of a 3.0 amphibious ready group presence, one in RMU off the East Coast, one off the West Coast, and the 31st
Are
Marine
we
Expeditionary
close to
Unit.
that right now?
Sir, we're not.
Okay. What are the combatant commanders saying they want? 3.0 or higher?
The combatant commanders are asking for 5.5, and I would note that that is unobtainium.
and we're not even at 3.0, and that's a requirement you think we need?
I believe as the amphibious requirements officer, 3.0 is the requirement. Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, when you went through your confirmation hearing, I highlighted a GAO report, had 4 recommendations, talked about the amphibious fleet readiness, which was in a state of disaster. Are you familiar with these 4 recommendations? Have you implemented any of them? And maybe you can get back to this committee with each of those recommendations and what you're doing to implement them from the GAO on getting our amphib fleet back in readiness.
Take that for the record and come back to you, Senator.
Finally, General, what happens if we don't have 3.0 MU toe-to-toe capability?
Senator, it increases risk for the combatant commander. That means there's not a Marine Expeditionary Unit off the coast of Africa should an embassy need to be evacuated or should Houthis need to be struck. It means there's not a Marine Expeditionary Unit prepared to go in the teeth of the PRC or prepared to operate in the Southcom AOR.
And are the Marines ready to be 3.0,
We are, so we have the capacity and the capability.
but the Navy isn't?
The amphib readiness rate is currently, doesn't meet the 3.0 requirement.
Admiral, do you know when we're going to get to that?
I can tell you what we're at, 41%, and I want to get to 80%. I don't have an exact date when we're going to get there, but it has my full attention.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.